There's a thing you should know about me. For most of my life, I was addicted to candy. Don't get me wrong, I'd take sugar in any form. A couple teaspoons over my cornflakes, 4 spoons in a cup of tea, pancakes with fruit toppings, syrup, and brown sugar sprinkled on top? Yes, please. I just preferred it in candy form. I watched the movie Elf and said, well, that spaghetti is gross, but everything else seems pretty normal. My earliest memory was my grandmother bringing over a box of chocolate frosted donuts and trying to figure out how I could get more than one of them. My entire childhood relationship with sweets was all about me wanting and not being able to get them. We had a vending machine in the projects. When I was old enough to walk that far, my sisters used to say, I'll buy, you fly. If I fetched their chocolate bar, they would pay for mine. It was a great system, but they didn't have any money either. So I spent a lot of time trying to tempt them into craving things they couldn't afford. Any odd work I picked up as a kid was motivated solely by my desire for sweets. Shovel a walkway with my brother, earn 3 chocolate bars. Help my sister with her chores, 1 chocolate bar. Find something nobody wanted to do, earn even more candy. Entire economic principles sprung from a mad craving for confections. I nearly flunked out of math each year, but if they had used candy, I would have been an honors student. Take that, Mr. Kopek. My oldest sister Grace came home one day with a brown bag full of Swedish fish, and it blew my mind. There was a store just outside the projects where you could buy a piece of candy for a penny. I was 8, and my mind started revamping economies like Rain Man. Help sister with chores, 25 caramels, shovel the walkway, 100 Swedish fish. Wait, that can't be right. I've never even seen 100 pieces of candy. Could a person even eat 100 pieces? I was for sure going to find out. That was actually my first life goal. I got Grace to take me to this sugar mecca, and it was everything I could have conceived as heaven. An entire section of store devoted to boxes of different candies. Gummies, Sour Patches, hard candies, peanut butter and caramels, licorice and gum. They were all behind glass that was covered in tiny fingerprints. I brought a nickel with me, and the store owner patiently explained what all the candies were. It was really less patience than good business. That man took one look in my eyes, clocked the drool in the corner of my mouth, and knew I was a good investment. He understood I would spend every dime I made for years in his little shop. And he was right. I invested that nickel like it was Scrooge McDuck's first one, torturing myself over the relative chew time of gum versus taffy, or whether a penny's worth of sugar buttons offered more value than a Swedish fish. I gave the man my nickel, he gave me 5 pieces of candy, and I left a changed boy. That year I got my first paper route, accomplished my very first goal, and I snuck out to the store. Why sneak? Because Dad had a rule. If you brought candy in the house, it was for sharing. And if I shared my 100 pieces of candy, I wouldn't know if I could eat 100 pieces of candy, and darn it, the world needed to know. I chose cherry bombs. They were a fruity chew with a crispy shell, and I ate as many as I could before coming home. Then I hid in the closet and ate the rest of them. Yes, I hid in a dark closet eating shame candy behind suit coats, and yes, I understand how that looks now, and yes, I got sick. I broke out in hives and had to tell my very skeptical mom it must have been the school lunch. You'd think that experience would have soured me on the whole sweets thing. It didn't, though. I wasn't some lesser devotee. No, Candy and I still had years of adventures together.